Well, the thing with it was interesting because probably movies make it sound way cooler. The job I had, in retrospect, is a pretty cool job. But at the time, I was like, this is boring and lame. Even though we're going out and doing stuff, it wasn't like being in a special operations direct action unit, like completely different. And you found yourself kind of having really structured timelines as far as work. And I'd never had that before. And then a lot of times through the evenings and the mornings, I wouldn't have anything to do. And a lot of guys would play Xbox. And so I put myself through college. And then once I freed up that time, I kind of just sat around and go, well, what do I want to do? I just don't want to burn time. I want to do something creative. I've always kind of been an artist. And I started, playing around on my little, my MacBook and hooking up my guitar and singing stupid songs and sending them to my friends and, calling my brother lame and making a song about it. And he would laugh. I was like, maybe I should just put something out on YouTube. And I never wanted or expected to be like a YouTuber. But I think that process of just, using art as a way to like vent really became such a powerful vessel for who I am and really helped me get to where I am today.
So talk to us about that, because we were talking before the show. I still remember my first YouTube video that I watched. It was 2006, and it was Grape Lady. I don't know if you remember Grape Lady. The lady that was stomping out the grapes and she falls.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first. So what was YouTube like when you first started? Because you said you never thought you'd be a YouTuber. So what was it like back then?
Well, I was a huge fan when I worked executive protection in Los Angeles before I was a contractor. I used to watch, these guys like Rocket Jump, Freddie Wong, Corridor Digital, and they just made really cool action stuff. And I always watched it and I loved it. And I loved the process of filmmaking. And then it really wasn't until Jared Taylor, I met him, that I realized the format to construct music is exactly the same to construct video. It's just a different process. Instead of audio layers, you're doing visual layers. And once I figured that out, I said, wow, all this comedy stuff I've written for years and never did anything with it for music. Now I could put this into, video and hopefully make people laugh. And I think early on, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with that until I think it was about how to be an operator that I was like, I know the military experience very well, might as well use that in a satirical nature. And then that's when, like overnight, I kind of became a YouTube guy.
Go ahead. Well, as I said, do you know how many, I'm just curious, just being a geek, YouTube geek, but do you know how many subscribers you had at that point before that video?
Oh, I think I had around 20,000. So,
yeah. Okay. So you had a decent following then at that point.
Yeah. That was just from doing other stuff. But it wasn't until that one that I kind of found the cadence of what I wanted to do, because at the time, YouTube and military was very like, I'm a badass. And there's a place for that for sure. But I think a lot of the experience in the military of the team room joking and all the shit talk we do is lost, because they're like, operators are operators. And you're like, no, dude, we're in the team room, like
talking
making dick jokes, slapping asses, taking batteries out of optics. And then right before you're getting on the bird, you'd be like, hey, there's no double A's in here. You're like, what the hell? Like, obviously nothing that would get anybody hurt. You're having fun, I'm sure, just like in sports.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was the joy, man, of sports and being in the locker room, was to be able to, and that's the thing I missed most about, football, was the cutting up in the locker room. So when you started this YouTube and getting involved in social media, how much of from your old teammates, your old boys, how much shit talking were you getting back at you?
Well, it was actually pretty awesome. And I think I've only said this one time before. I have to give so much credit to the teammates that I had contracting, because all I was doing at the time, we were sitting around having a beer, like in the Middle East around a fire pit at night, just talking crap to everybody. Remember this time we did this or this. And I just took that conversation and turned it into something that was a skit. And they really helped me, because I was in it at the time. I was on YouTube, I think, for about 3 years before I even quit being a contractor. And so I was in it all day, and it didn't really start to get weird and probably till that last year, where I'd be walking around a base and people would be like, Matt, why are you here? And I'm like, got my body armor on, my cool badge. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Why are you here? That got a little weird there for a little bit. So I was like, I should probably leave this job now. I'm becoming a risk. I had a joke We almost got hemmed up on this one thing anyways, but it was pretty funny because I told my teammate, it was just me and this other Ranger buddy as a contractor in the car. I was like, hey, at least we die. It'll be a really cool headline. It'll just say YouTuber Matt Best killed, works for, And I'm like, we'll get at least like one newspaper article about
Yeah, we'll get some more subscribers out of it. It'll be great.
Like burn me in the street so my mom doesn't have to see that. Fuck.